Welcome to On the Fringe. I'm Daniel Joseph, and today I want to talk about something epic. If you've been watching the newsreels, seeing the articles come across on the internet, you will notice something unprecedented, something that has never happened before has taken place this week, and that is a United States president has declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Historic. This is an act of prophetic proportions and very exciting days that we are embarking on. Notice how the Arab nations responded to this. Obviously, they're not going to respond favorably. They're in favor of a Jerusalem being the capital of Palestine and not Israel. And so there is this battle that still ensues between Ishmael and the descendants of Isaac. And the battle, it's not a coincidence, and most of us understand it. The world can't really understand it, but we do. The battle is over the city of the king. And it is fascinating. What's happening here on earth has happened in heaven. And you think about the prayer, that the Lord's Prayer, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. There's another facet to that of the things that have happened in heaven will be mimicked here on earth. There was a battle for the Jerusalem in heaven, and the enemy lost that battle. There is a battle here on earth for the Jerusalem. The enemy is going to lose the battle, and the heavenly Jerusalem ultimately is going to fall down here on this earthly Jerusalem. So the one that is in bondage, as Paul says, is going to be set free. And so very, very exciting. But looking at that this actually happened, most of us could not even imagine an actual U.S. president would have the chutzpah to actually declare Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. It is an absolute incredible privilege to be living in these days and in this country that has made that declaration. Profound, and evangelicals across the nation, messianics, the believers alike are rejoicing over this. Maybe not the Pope, but the majority of believers are rejoicing in what has happened, because they all identify Jerusalem belongs to Israel. They all identify Bible prophecy. And so the days we are embarking on are so powerful. And I want you to think about something in the midst of all this, and in this rejoicing in the reality of what just happened this week, which is hard. It's so surreal. It's hard to get your arms wrapped around. But the implications of this proclamation. What are going to be the implications of the United States president of the U.S. virtually declaring Jerusalem as the capital of Israel? There's going to be implications. Israel's already facing them. If you've seen what was going on in Hebron, in Nablus, places I was just at, which is a little frightening to think about, but there were uprisings already. So there's already destabilization happening in Israel. The IDF are busier than they've ever been right now. And so we see this, but it's going to go much deeper than that. And here's where I'm going with this, and I keep going back to Zechariah 14, because, several years back when the UN made a real push to divide Jerusalem, to have the Palestinians to have their side of Jerusalem, and Israel to possess the other side of Jerusalem. When they really made that push, it really forced me into the Word, because in Zechariah 14 it talks about the fact that Jerusalem is going to be divided. But I always wondered what event would prompt all of it to really move into motion, because it always seems like there was a stumbling, there was this brick wall, if you will, preventing this from happening. And I was always meditating over the last several years over what event would do this. This week, I believe we have seen the event that is going to create the domino effect, because these uprisings are going to get more and more intense. And what we may just see is that it may get so intense, Israel may have to respond to this intensity, and in the eyes of the world, it may be an overreach, and ultimately will lead to the division of Jerusalem. But all of this is the plan of the Lord, and all of this is to bring the nations down, to gather against Israel, to bring them into judgment. And so we are really living in profound times. We've been created for such a time as this, and I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around that each and every one of us get to live in this generation. It is an awesome thing. And more now than ever before, we need to have our eyes turned to heaven. We need to have our focus on Yeshua and nothing but. When you're being confronted almost daily with Bible prophecy, but at the level that we've seen this week, this is absolutely incredible. So that's all for this week. I just had to talk about that with you, and you need to be paying attention to what's going on in Jerusalem. That's the navel, as they say, of the universe. Well, blessings and shalom to you.